Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please rise for the presentation of the colors by the FDNY Color Guard.
Detail 10 Hut.
Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem by firefighter Frank Pizarro.
Detail hand salute.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready, two.
Thank you, Frank. Please remain standing as I invite FDNY Chaplain, Father Chris Keenan, to deliver the invocation.
Lord, God of our understanding, we remember and celebrate today our living out the reality of the teacher and the prophet Jesus when he proclaimed, "No greater love can you have than to offer and give of your life for one another." Thank you, Lord, for the gift of this calling in each one of our commissionings, where as firefighters we vowed to offer our lives to protect the life and the property of the people of New York City. And as emergency medical personnel, we made a solemn pledge to consecrate our life in the service of humanity with the Oath of Geneva in responding to the 1.4 million cries for help each year in our city. So, Lord, God of our understanding, on this Medal Day of our 150th year as the Fire Department of New York, we again offer ourselves to being your caring, compassionate, and saving presence to our over 8 million sisters and brothers in this greatest city that is New York, New York. And as a fire department family, may we always remember and never forget. May we always remember the honor and gift of this great calling and mission that we share. And may we never forget that on our path forward together, that each one of us and all of us together are always in your unconditional, loving, and healing embrace at every moment of our life if only we would receive it. And to this we all say, Amen.
Thank you, Father Chris. Please retire the colors. Please be seated.
Detail at ease.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chief Mike Galla, Chief of Uniform Personnel, and it's an honor to serve as Master of Ceremonies on such a proud day for this department. On behalf of Mayor Bill de Blasio, Fire Commissioner Daniel Nigro, Chief of Department James Leonard, the Fire and EMS staff chiefs, union officials, and department executive staff, I'd like to welcome you all to today's FDNY Medal Day ceremonies. A special welcome goes out to all of today's medal winners. You make us proud. We also wanted to have a number of medal donors, as well as their families of Medal Day recipients, joining us. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce our first speaker, the Mayor of the City of New York, Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Thank you, Chief Galla. Thank you very much for leading us today. It is an honor to be at the 146th FDNY Medal Day, and this year, so important to all of us, the 150th anniversary of this extraordinary department. I want to talk for a moment about what this history means, but let me first thank and acknowledge Commissioner Dan Nigro, who's doing an outstanding job. First, Deputy Commissioner Robert Turner, Chief of Department James Leonard. Let's thank all of them for their leadership. And I want to thank all of the labor leaders who represent the men and women of this department. Steve Cassidy, President of the UFA, Jake LaMonda, President of the UFOA, John Sullivan, President of EMS Superior Officers Association, and he is being honored here today. Congratulations, John. Vincent Variali, President of Uniform EMS Officers Union, Izzy Miranda, President of Uniform EMTs, Paramedics, and Fire Inspectors. Let's thank them all for representing the men and women of this department. It's the 150th anniversary, which is extraordinary unto itself, of a department that means so much to the city. It doesn't just mean so much in terms of the work that these individuals do every day and have done, those before them, for 150 years, protecting the people of this city, keeping this city whole. It's also what the FDNY means to the heart and soul of New York City. It's part of what makes us proud as New Yorkers is this extraordinary department. It is world famous for a reason. It epitomizes the strength, the resiliency, the bravery, the professionalism, the sense of innovation, all of which we see as part of what is great about New York City, what we are proud of as New Yorkers, the very characteristics that make us proud to say this is our home. But that history actually goes back even farther, 150 years of the modern department. But you know what? There were firefighters in a different form going back right here, very near to where we stand today, even as far back as the 1640s. There were the bucket brigades. Even back to the time when this was a small Dutch colony, there were individuals who put their lives on the line to save others. In those days, it was a bucket of water and a rattle to warn people that something was wrong. We've obviously come a very, very long way in terms of the training and the innovation and the technology, but the spirit is the same, the bravery is the same, the professionalism is the same. Something we've experienced for hundreds of years, so everyone being honored today is part of an unbroken tradition. And they're, in fact, building upon that tradition, showing that this department can go even farther. Today, 71 members of the FDNY will receive individual and group medals. They all have one profoundly important thing in common, which is courage. courage in risking their lives to save others. Something I always say, not every human being is built this way. It takes special people to exhibit this kind of courage. And it should be humbling for all of us to be in their presence. They have run toward harm in many cases in their careers many, many times. And they have risked their lives many times, and they have succeeded in saving other lives many times. There are many, many stories of heroism today. When you add them up, it is easy to understand why these men and women are called New York's bravest. Let me give you one example. Captain William Grant, here with us today from Engine Company 168, the recipient of the James Gordon Bennett Medal, the highest award for a firefighter. Last July, he was at home, his own home, and he is awoken by an explosion next door. He hears screams. He runs out to find the house next door engulfed in flames, smoke pouring out. His 60-year-old neighbor in that house. This is something that happened with no warning. From a dead sleep, suddenly he's in action, ready to save a life. He has no safety gear, he has no equipment, he has no backup. He just goes to save a life. The door of the neighbor's house is locked, so he kicks it in and enters into an inferno. Realizing he couldn't go that way to reach his neighbor, the flames were too intense, the smoke was too great. He thinks quickly. He goes to another neighbor's yard, he grabs a ladder. He puts the ladder up against the house. With the help of his son, who is an NYPD officer, they go to where the neighbor is trapped. But the neighbor, at this point, is incapacitated, not responding. The smoke has overwhelmed. So, in the midst of this extraordinarily difficult circumstance, the captain crawls, searching hand by hand, trying to find the neighbor, finds her, drags her to the window, starts carrying her down the ladder. And this drama keeps going because the ladder breaks. But because of his heroism, both he and his neighbor survived. They were taken to the hospital and, thank God, treated and recovered. No equipment, no backup except for, thank God, his son. But something so extraordinary, the training, the professionalism, the dedication that is the core of the FDNY. That is the kind of story that makes all New Yorkers proud, and there is a good woman alive today because of the heroism of Captain Grant. Let's give him a round of applause. Let me tell you also, so many good people here, but I think it's important to give you a few examples that epitomize this extraordinary group. Let me tell you about two EMTs, Sean Alexander and Khadijah Hall of EMS Station 58. They have their cheering section here, receiving the Christopher J. Prescott Medal, the highest EMS award. They are off duty one day in Brooklyn. They're sitting in EMT Hall's car, and then again, out of nowhere, no warning, they hear gunshots. And they see a man firing at two NYPD officers. This is a live situation. No one knows how many people are involved, how many shooters. All they know is an NYPD officer has been hit and is down. The two EMTs don't think about anything but helping that officer. They rush to help the wounded officer, even with the danger around them. The officer had been shot in both legs, and because the EMTs were there so quickly and provided immediate help, it helped to save this brave officer's life. And let's take a moment to thank that officer, James Lee, who is here with us today. We thank him for his bravery. So, EMTs Alexander and Hall, they didn't know that day sitting in the car they would be in the middle of a firing range. They didn't know what was about to happen. They only knew their obligation was to save the life of the fellow New Yorker, and they did it selflessly and they did it well. Let's thank EMTs Alexander and Hall for their bravery. And let's talk about one example of the kind of units that make this department so great. Rescue 1, a special unit trained for the most difficult rescues. Well, Rescue 1 lives up to the name. They make those rescues happen. They are the best that is. And by the way, in New York City, they have every opportunity to find out just how complicated that mission can be. Think about a few months back, 2 men dangling 68 stories outside the Freedom Tower, 68 stories above the ground dangling from a rig. If it wasn't for Rescue 1, those men would never have been saved, but they were through the creativity and the innovation and the professionalism of Rescue 1. Think about the East Harlem gas explosion. Again, no warning. You've seen the videotape of that day. Out of nowhere, suddenly, a building explodes. There's heavy smoke, there's debris. Rescue 1 arrives, and the wreckage was described, quote, as a jagged cliff face, 2 to 3 stories high, filled with snapped floor joists, twisted and mangled fire escapes, pipe and other debris. Imagine coming upon a situation, there's no rhyme or reason, there's only danger. Rescue 1 found and rescued an elderly woman buried deep in that rubble and continued searching even though it was an unstable and dangerous situation. Today, they receive medals for their heroic efforts. Let's thank everyone who's part of Rescue 1. I'll conclude by saying we honor these individuals and these units, but at the same time, we honor the entire department. Because every member of this department should be proud of what they do, should know how much we are proud of them, and how much the people of this city honor them and believe in them. And it is because of what they've shown us time and time again. Winston Churchill once said, quote, "Courage is rightly esteemed the first of human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees all others. Nowhere is that more true than at the FDNY, and we say thank you and God bless you."
Thank you, Mayor de Blasio. Our next speaker, our Fire Commissioner, Daniel Nigro.
Well, thank you. What a beautiful day. And most of the time when this department gathers together, it's for something quite solemn, as we did yesterday for firefighter Tim Millia's funeral. But today, Medal Day, is a celebration, and it's a day of pure joy. So good morning and congratulations to all of the men and women whose heroic actions we honor today. And a special welcome to the 2 families here with us. First, the loved ones of our honorees, whose support makes their difficult work possible. And also our FDNY family, the firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, fire marshals, and officers who have mentored and trained our medal recipients and stood by their side as they've performed the heroic work we honor today. I'd like to echo the Mayor's sentiments and once again congratulate Captain William Grant of Engine 168, this year's Gordon Bennett recipient, and EMTs Khadijah Hall and Sean Alexander of Station 58, recipients of the Christopher J. Prescott Medal. The fact that your brave action took place off-duty speaks not only to your dedication, but to the lifelong commitment all FDNY members make when they raise their right hands and swear oaths to protect our city. Each year, new FDNY members graduate from our academies and vow to risk their lives to protect and save others, ensuring the strong future of the department. Today, we award medals to 3 probationary firefighters. Firefighter Jordan Sullivan of Ladder 105, recipient of the Hugh Bonner and Honor Legion medals. Firefighter Justin Tillett of Ladder 107. Recipient of the M.J. Delahanty Medal, and firefighter Marlon Sahai of Ladder 9. Recipient of the probationary firefighter Thomas A. Wiley Medal. Each of these members executed dramatic rescues in their first months on the job, performing like veterans with decades of firefighting experience. They operated with the tenacity and dedication to duty that are hallmarks of our department, saving the lives of New Yorkers, including several children at fires. In their firehouses, they were mentored by their fellow firefighters, but before that, each trained at our state-of-the-art fire academy. Truly, when we see our newest firefighters perform at such a high level, I know our department's future is indeed very strong. Training is the key to all we do, and that was the case once again on October 23rd of last year, when the Ebola virus that had already taken thousands of lives reached our city for the first time. The department planned and trained for this possibility for months, but the best laid plans mean nothing unless they are properly executed by the paramedics, EMTs, and firefighters out on the front line. Paramedic Winsley Julian and EMT Curvins Michelle of Hashtag Battalion took the playbook that was developed and ran with it, going into a location few would dare, treating and transporting the city's first and only Ebola patient with the utmost care and compassion. Their skill, dedication, and medical expertise are a large part of why the disease did not spread further and why their patient is still alive today. Through their actions, they demonstrated why the FDNY's emergency medical service members are not only the busiest, they are by far the best. Today, in this historic year for the FDNY, we celebrate the bright future of our job and the extraordinary actions our members take each day to save lives. We do so back on the steps of City Hall for the first time in 5 years. Just a short walk from 4 Center Street, where Engine Company 1 first opened its doors on July 31st, 1865, as the first paid professional company in FDNY history. Every day since that firehouse first opened, the men and women of this department have bravely served, carrying out the FDNY's life-saving mission. In our storied history, countless lives have been saved, and as we march forward, we will continue to work and train hard, and we will always make good on our promise to the people of New York to go into danger and save lives. The FDNY has never wavered in that commitment, and we never will. Congratulations once again to all of our medal recipients today. Thank you for your acts of valor. Thank you to every FDNY member whose outstanding work has continued our hard-earned reputation as the world's greatest fire department. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nigro. We will now commence with the presentation of the medals. I will ask the ceremonial officer to escort the mayor, the fire commissioner, and the chief of department to the area in front of the stage. Maybe yes, maybe no. Ladies and gentlemen, our first medal is the Dr. Harry M. Archer Medal. This is awarded every 3 years to the highest James Gordon Bennett Medal winner in the previous 3 years. This year, it's being awarded to firefighter Kevin Hogan, Tower Ladder 114, Tally Ho. Where in the early morning hours of March 13, 2011, Tower Ladder 114 responded to a working fire in a four-story old law tenement on 61st Street in the Sunset Park section of Brooklyn. The interior stairs were consumed with fire and many people were screaming for help. Firefighter Hogan, the Irons firefighter, ascended the fire escape and immediately brought down a small boy and woman from the third floor. As fire extended into the apartments, firefighter Hogan re-entered the third floor window and crawling deep into the apartment found two unconscious toddlers. He removed them both to the fire escape, passing them off to fellow members. Entering the apartment again, he rescued a fourth victim and her unborn child. After removing this victim, he entered the apartment again and removed a 52-year-old male. Firefighter Hogan is directly responsible for saving 7 lives at great personal risk, and we're proud to present him with the Dr. Harry M. Archer Medal. Kevin Hogan, Tower Ladder 114, Engine 201, Can Do, Battalion 40. Harry Archer Medal. Once again, Kevin Hogan, Tower Ladder 114. Our next medal, the James Gordon Bennett Medal, this year, and the New York State Honorary Fire Chiefs Association member, this year being awarded to Captain William Grant, Engine 168, Pride of Rossville. Where on the morning of July 7, 2014, Captain Grant, while off duty, was jolted by a blast from the home next door. Rushing outside at his home, he found heavy fire emanating from his neighbor's house. With flames engulfing the rear of the house, Captain Grant forced his way through the front door. He was met with heavy fire and heat and heard his neighbor screaming for help on the second floor. Captain Grant, cut off by the fire, exited the house and was able to find the neighbor's ladder. Placing the ladder to the porch, Captain Grant made his way to the second floor and accessed the front bedroom. Under brutal conditions, he searched for and found his neighbor. He dragged her to the window and lifted her onto the ladder in safety. Captain Grant suffered injuries during this rescue, and for his act of bravery, a great personal risk without a hose line of protective equipment, it is our great pleasure to award Captain William Grant the James Gordon Bennett Medal, New York State Honorary Fire Chiefs Association Medal. William Billy the Kid Grant, Engine 168, Pride of Rossville. And as the mayor mentioned, he was assisted by his son, Police Officer Brian Grant of the 76th Precinct. Engine 168, EMS Battalion 23, the Pride of Rossville. Way to go, Billy. Our next medal, the Brooklyn Citizens Medal, Firefighter Louis Valentino Award, being awarded to Firefighter Dominic Mischello, Tower Ladder 157, the Jolly Rogers. Just after midnight on November 19, 2014, a neighbor knocked on the door of the quarters at 255 and 157, reporting a building fire across the street. As 157 pulled out of quarters, they observed heavy fire out all windows on the second floor of a 3-story brick multiple dwelling. With reports of people trapped, Firefighter Mischello entered the bucket and proceeded to the floor above the fire. Entering the third floor window, he did a quick search of the front bedroom. Under high heat conditions from the fire below him, he searched deeper into the apartment where he found an unconscious woman. Firefighter Mischello dragged the victim back to the apartment and into 157's bucket where he became CPR. After passing the victim off to medical personnel, he returned to the floor above the fire and assisted in removing another victim to safety. 6 civilians were successfully rescued at this operation, and for Firefighter Mischello's act of bravery at great personal risk, we award him the Brooklyn Citizens Medal, Firefighter Louis Valentino Award. Dominic Mischello, Tower Ladder 157, Engine 255, the Jolly Rogers. And our next medal is the Christopher J. Prescott Medal, being awarded to EMTs Sean Alexander and Kahija Hall, Station 58, the Junkyard Dogs. Where in the early evening of February 26, 2014, EMTs Sean Alexander and Kahija Hall were in EMT Hall's personal vehicle at Empire Boulevard and Utica Avenue in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn. Suddenly, gunshots rang out, and they observed a male running down the street as two uniformed NYPD officers chased him. There was an exchange of gunfire between the officers and the male, and the EMTs observed one officer fall to the ground. After witnessing this shooting and not knowing if there would be further gunfire, EMTs Hall and Alexander sprang into action. They retrieved the technician kit from the car and ran to assist the fallen officer, who was shot in both legs. With their limited equipment, they provided immediate and essential life-saving medical care. They continued treating the officer until on-duty personnel arrived. EMTs Hall and Alexander found themselves suddenly and unexpectedly in a life-threatening situation. They acted instinctively and used their training to save a police officer's life. For their courageous and unselfish actions, EMTs Sean Alexander and Khadijah Hall are awarded the Christopher J. Prescott Medal. EMTs Sean Alexander, Khadijah Hall, the Junkyard Dogs. Also present, we have Police Officer James Lee, formerly of the 71st Precinct. James Lee. Again, EMTs Sean Alexander, Khadijah Hall, Station 58, the Junkyard Dogs. Let's hear it. Our next medal is the U-Bonner Medal, Honor Legion Medal. Stand by. There we go. Our next medal, the U-Bonner Medal, Honor Legion Medal, being awarded to firefighter Jordan Sullivan, Tower Ladder 105, Dean Street. In the early morning hours of March 16, 2014, Tower Ladder 105 responded first due to reported fire on 3rd Avenue in the Boerum Hill section of Brooklyn with reports of people trapped. Returning from another box, they arrived in 2 minutes. Making their way to the 5th floor, they encountered a smoke condition and made their way to the fire apartment. As they opened the door to the apartment, they were met with heavy heat and high smoke. Fire met them in a hall, and probationary firefighter Sullivan controlled the fire so they could get to the rear bedrooms. Once at the bedroom, firefighter Sullivan expelled his can to knock down fire and began a search. Finding a crib, he searched it and found a baby inside. Firefighter Sullivan grabbed the boy and, protecting him with his body, passed the fire again and brought the boy out of the apartment and to waiting medical care. The child is alive today due to firefighter Sullivan's act of bravery at unusual personal risk. For saving a life and at his very first fire, we proudly award firefighter Jordan Sullivan the U-Bonner Medal, Honor Legion Medal. Jordan Sullivan, Tower Ladder 105, Engine 219, Dean Street. Our next medal is the Emily Trevor Mary B. Warren Medal, being awarded to Captain Richard Savarese, Division 8, covering in Tower Ladder 149, the Castle on the Hill. Where in the early morning hours of August 1st, 2014, Tower Ladder 149 responded first due to reported fire on the 5th floor of a multiple dwelling on 92nd Street in the Bay Ridge section of Brooklyn. As they arrived, engine 242 was transmitting at 1075. Making their way to the 5th floor apartment 149, forced entry to begin their search. Captain Savarese made his way down the main hall where they were met by fire. He passed the fire as the can man tried to control it. Searching a rear bedroom in zero visibility, Captain Savarese found an unconscious female. He quickly dragged her out of the room and out of the fire apartment. It took 16 lengths of hose to reach the fire apartment. Captain Savarese knew the risks and without any protection of a hose line saved a life. For his act of bravery at unusual personal risk, we award the Emily Trevor Mary B. Warren Medal to Captain Richard Savarese, Tower Ladder 149, Engine 284, Castle on the Hill. Our next medal is the Thomas E. Crimmins Medal, being awarded to Lieutenant John Jensen, Engine 167, Fire and Ice. We're just at the start of the day tour on November 28, 2014. 167 responded first due to reported fire in a multiple dwelling on Richmond Hill Road in the New Springville section of Staten Island. On arrival, heavy smoke was visible. Lieutenant Jensen ordered a handline stretched and made his way into the fire building. He made his way down the smoke-filled hallway until he found the fire apartment. While waiting for a handline, Lieutenant Jensen began a search and found an unconscious female inside the apartment. As flames rolled over their heads, Lieutenant Jensen quickly dragged the woman out of the apartment and down the hallway, protecting her with his body. He then passed the victim off to one of his members, and then he continued to supervise the extinguishment of the fire. Lieutenant Jensen suffered burns during this rescue, but the victim is alive to his act of personal bravery. And it gives us great pleasure to award Lieutenant John Jensen the Thomas E. Crimmins Medal. Tom Jensen, Engine 167, Tower Ladder 87, Fire and Ice. Our next medal, the Thomas A. Kenny Memorial Medal, being awarded to firefighter Adam Burleson, Hook and Ladder 26, the Fire Factory. Where on the morning of January 5th, 2014, Hook and Ladder 26 was acting as Ladder 2 and directed to respond to reported fire in a 42-story residential high-rise on Manhattan's West 43rd Street. Arriving first due, fire was observed venting out the 20th floor. Firefighter Burleson, the chauffeur of 26, began searching the attack stair while making his way to the roof. At the 30th floor, he encountered an unconscious male who was bleeding badly. Firefighter Burleson removed the victim to a safe apartment and began CPR. He was relieved by Engine Company 5. He then continued the search and on the 31st floor found an additional unconscious victim. Firefighter Burleson dragged the victim to an adjoining apartment and administered CPR until relieved by Engine 8. Due to Fire Burleson's act of bravery at unusual personal risk, a life was saved, and we are proud to award him the Thomas A. Kenny Memorial Medal. Firefighter Adam Burleson, Hook and Ladder 26, Engine 58, the Fire Factory. Our next medal is the Walter Scott Medal, being awarded to firefighter, now Lieutenant Brian Bean of Hook and Ladder 174, Snyder Isle. And in the early morning hours of August 3rd, 2014, Hook and Ladder 174 responded first due to a fire in a multiple dwelling on East 49th Street in the East Flatbush section of Brooklyn. On arrival, heavy smoke was showing from the top floor windows of this three-story MD. With reports of people trapped, firefighter Bean raised a portable ladder to the exposure 2 setback. After accessing the setback, he pulled the ladder up and raised it to the 3rd floor window. As he ascended the ladder, a woman dove out the window and onto the ladder, with firefighter Bean breaking her fall. He then lowered her to the setback. He reclimbed the ladder and entered the apartment where he found 2 unconscious elderly women. He removed each to the setback and re-entered the top floor for a 3rd time and found an additional victim that was removed via the interior. For this amazing act of bravery and his extraordinary efforts to save 4 lives, we award Lieutenant Brian Bean the Walter Scott Medal. Brian Bean, Lieutenant Brian Bean. Hook and ladder 174, Engine Company 310, Snyder Isle. Let's hear it. We hear him. Our next medal, the John H. Prentice Medal, being awarded to firefighter Thomas Christensen, Hook and ladder 80, Cougar Country. And just after the start of the day tour on May 26, 2014, Hook and Ladder 80 responded first due to a reported fire in a three-story MD on Port Richmond Avenue in Staten Island. On arrival, heavy fire was venting out several second-floor windows. Firefighter Christensen and the rest of the forcible entry team made their way to the second floor, where they quickly forced entry into the fire apartment. Under high heat and heavy smoke conditions, firefighter Christensen began his search. In the living room, he discovered an unconscious male. As flames began rolling over his head, firefighter Christensen dragged the victim approximately 30 feet to the apartment door. With the assistance from Lieutenant Dave Gonzalez and firefighter Chris Carrier, they removed the victim to the street and awaiting medical care. Due to the courage and perseverance displayed by firefighter Christensen, a victim is alive, and we proudly award him the John M. Prentice Medal. Tom Christensen, Hook and ladder 80, engine 157, Cougar Country. Our next medal, the Henry D. Brookman Medal, being awarded to Lieutenant Robert Whalen, Battalion 4-1, working in engine 257, Canarसी's bravest. Where on the afternoon of November 25th, 2014, 257 responded second due to reported fire on Thomas Boylan Street in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn. Upon arrival, heavy fire was emanating from the second floor, and 283 was stretching a hand line. With both truck companies being delayed, Lieutenant Whelan ordered his members to assist in the stretch as he began a primary search. Passing through the fire in the kitchen, he searched the rear bedroom. With reports of a child trapped, he searched the second bedroom and found an unconscious child on the floor. Lieutenant Whelan quickly lifted the child and rushed him outside to awaiting EMS personnel. For his quick actions at unusual personal risk, a child was saved, and we proudly award the Henry D. Brookman Medal to Lieutenant Robert Whalen, Engine 257. Engine 257, Tower Ladder 170, Battalion 58, Canarसी's bravest. Our next medal is the Chief Ulysses Grant Leadership Medal, this year being awarded to EMS Deputy Chief John Q. Sullivan of Division 2. The Chief Ulysses Grant Leadership Medal is awarded to an EMS officer who has the ability to influence others to accomplish the mission. It is furthermore presented to an officer who, in leading his members under his command, performed an outstanding act of bravery. On May 2nd, 2014, EMS personnel responded to a train derailment in Jackson Heights, Queens. Working alongside firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics, triage, treated, and transported patients. Chief Sullivan led the medical branch tunnel operations while 1,000 subway riders were evacuated. 20 patients were treated and 12 were transported to local hospitals. Later in the year, on October 23rd, Chief Sullivan demonstrated extraordinary leadership despite adversity of New York City's only Ebola patient. In these two incidents and many others throughout the year, Chief Sullivan has exemplified FDNY's virtues of respect, leadership, integrity, compassion, and dedication. For his actions, we proudly award the Ulysses Grant Leadership Medal to EMS Deputy Chief John Q. Sullivan, Division 2. Our next medal, the M.J. Delahanty Medal, being awarded to probationary firefighter Justin Tallett, Tower Ladder 107, faithful and fearless. Where on the morning of July 29, 2014, 107 responded first due to reported fire in a fireproof MD on Loring Avenue in East New York, Brooklyn. Upon arrival, heavy smoke was pushing from the 4th floor with 2 children visibly trapped behind window gates. The OV of 107 removed these children via the bucket. The children said their brother was in the apartment. This was related to the inside team. Probationary firefighter Talent entered the apartment and attempted to hold back the fire with his extinguisher. As the inside team split up, probationary firefighter Talent made his way to the furthest bedroom. There he encountered a crib and a bunk bed. Under the blankets on the bed, he found an unconscious child. Firefighter Talent wrapped the child in his arms, notified his officer, and removed the child to the floor below. The child was in cardiac arrest and revived on the way to the hospital. Without the protection of a hose line, probationary firefighter Talent saved a life and at unusual personal risk, and we are proud to award him the M.J. Delahanty Medal. Probationary firefighter Justin Talent, towel out of 107, 2 1/4, the 3-9, faithful and fearless. Our next medal, the William F. Conrad Medal, being awarded to firefighter Clint Muller, hook and ladder 47, the Castle Hill Knights. On the morning of February 13th, New York City was being hit with a nor'easter. At 09:30, 47 truck was directed to respond to a working fire on Dean Avenue in the Trogsneck section of the Bronx. Arriving second due to the 3-story private dwelling, firefighter Muller heard screams for help coming from the 3rd floor balcony. With help from firefighter Anthony Reynolds, a 35 ladder was raised and firefighter Muller quickly ascended, finding 5 trapped civilians. Through zero visibility, firefighter Muller directed the placement of the aerial to the 3rd floor balcony. One by one, firefighter Mueller assisted each victim onto the aerial using the Stokes basket for 1 victim. The magnitude of this fire needed a 4th alarm response. And for his actions at unusual personal risk, we award firefighter Clint Muller the William F. Conrad Medal. Clint Mueller. Hook and ladders 47, engine company 64, the Castle Hill Knights. Our next medal, the Mayor Fiorello H. LaGuardia Medal, being awarded to Lieutenant Christopher Zam, Engine 242, the Guardian of the Narrows. Where on a bitter cold morning of January 7, 2014, 242 responded first due to reported building fire on Oliver Street in the Bay Ridge section of Brooklyn. With no fire evident on arrival, Lieutenant Zam made his way into the building where fleeing residents reported a fire on the 3rd floor of this large 6-story MD. As Lieutenant Zam reached the 3rd floor, a woman stated her husband was trapped in the apartment. Lieutenant Zam entered the apartment and passed the kitchen on fire, making his way to a rear bedroom. After searching this bedroom, he passed the fire and found an unconscious male in a 2nd bedroom. With all his strength, Lieutenant Zam dragged the victim to the apartment entrance where he passed him off to the first arriving ladder company. Lieutenant Zam then supervised the extinguishment of the fire. He displayed remarkable initiative and placed himself at great personal risk to save a life. We proudly award the Mayor Fiorello H. LaGuardia Medal to Lieutenant Christopher Zam, Engine 242, the Guardian of the Narrows. Our next medal is the Chief John J. McGilligot Medal, Firefighter Fitzpatrick and Frisbee Award, being awarded to firefighter William Calderone, Hook and Ladder 81, the Beach House. Where shortly after midnight on June 5th, 2014, Ladder 81 responded to a reported private dwelling fire on Chestnut Avenue in the Rosebank section of Staten Island. As 81 arrived at this working fire in a large 2-story frame private dwelling, they observed several children trapped behind window bars on the 2nd floor. Firefighter Calderon positioned a 24-foot portable ladder to the window and rapidly ascended. With 81's aerial at the window, 1 victim was quickly removed while the other child left the window area. Firefighter Calderon quickly entered the window and under heavy smoke and high heat searched for the child. Firefighter Calderon found the unconscious child and dragged her back to the ladder. As he removed her to the aerial, the entire room lit up. For his act of bravery at unusual personal risk at this 5-alarm fire, 2 children were saved. And we are proud to bestow to Chief John J. McGilligot Medal, Firefighter Fitzpatrick and Frisbee Award to Firefighter William Calderon, Hook and Ladder 81, Engine 161, the Beach House. Our next medal, the Thomas F. Doherty Medal, being awarded to Lieutenant Michael Russo, Hook and Ladder 168, the 18th Avenue crew. Where in the early morning hours of April 28, 2014, Hook and Ladder 168 responded first due to reported building fire on 82nd Street in the Bensonhurst section of Brooklyn. Upon arrival, they found numerous frantic civilians fleeing this 7-story MD. Lieutenant Russo entered the fire building and on the second floor encountered high heat and a heavy smoke condition. The fire apartment door was left open. Using his thermal imaging camera, Lieutenant Russo and his forcible entry team crawled approximately 40 feet to the fire apartment. At the door, Lieutenant Russo found an unconscious 69-year-old female. Lieutenant Russo gained control of the door as flames rolled overhead. He dragged the victim down the hall where his inside team removed her to EMS personnel. Lieutenant Russo then directed the engine to the fire apartment and has continued his primary search. For his act of courage in saving a life, we award the Thomas F. Doherty Medal to Lieutenant Mike Russo, Hook and Ladder 168, Engine Company 243, Battalion 42. That's the 18th Avenue crew. All good. And our next medal, the Albert S. Johnston Medal, being awarded to Lieutenant Michael DeMeo, Tower Ladder 9, Bowery U. Where on the morning of August 17, 2014, Tower Ladder 9 responded first due to a multiple dwelling fire on St. Mark's Place in the East Village section of Manhattan. Upon arrival, heavy smoke was found pushing from several front windows on the first floor, all with window bars. With reports of people trapped, Lieutenant DeMeo and his forcible entry team rushed in, forcing the door to the fire apartment. Lieutenant DeMeo instructed his Irons firefighter to secure the apartment door in a shut position to stop the flow path. With firefighter Marlon Sahai holding back fire with his extinguisher, Lieutenant DeMeo passed the fire and made it to the bedroom where he found an unconscious female. With the help of firefighter John Roccio, they passed an extended fire, shielding the victim with their bodies. Once out of the apartment, the victim was turned over to EMS personnel. Due to the heroic actions of Lieutenant Mike DeMeo and his inside team, we proudly award him with the Albert S. Johnston Medal. Lieutenant Mike DeMeo, Tower Ladder 9, Engine Company 33. That's the Bowery U. Our next medal is the Bella Stifle Medal, being awarded to firefighter Donald Meyerhofer, Hook and Ladder 26, the Fire Factory. Just after the start of the day, on March 12, 2014, the quarters of Engine 58 and Ladder 26 was rocked by a powerful explosion. As the companies proceeded to turn out, they were directed to Park Avenue and East 116th Street. Upon arrival, members found two 5-story Old Lord tenements collapsed and burning. Firefighter Meyerhoff of the OV entered the rear yard from an adjoining building, where he saw a male victim in a window of a section that remained standing. Climbing the debris pile, firefighter Meyerhoff reached the fire escape and has made his way to the victim. Dazed, confused, and suffering serious injuries, firefighter Meyerhoff removed the victim from his precarious position and over the debris pile. Over 200 units operated at this major fire and explosion that went to 7 alarms. And for his act of courage and bravery in saving a life, we award firefighter Donald Meyerhofer the Bella Stifle Medal, Hook and Ladder 26, Engine Company 58, Harlem's Fire Factory. Our next medal is the Tracy Allen Lee Medal, this year being awarded to paramedics Winsley Julian and Kervin Michael of the Hashtag Battalion. The morning of October 23rd, 2013 began just like any other, but quickly became one that would test our members in the Bureau of EMS. With the Ebola crisis in full swing, a notification was received by the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. A medical doctor who had been to West Africa was sick and showing signs of the virus. The Hashtag Battalion with paramedics Winsley Julian and EMT Curvins Michael responded. On arrival, both members quickly donned their chemical protective equipment and powered air purifying respirators. While the members prepared to enter the doctor's apartment, EMS Deputy Chief John Sullivan made contact with the patient, assuring help was just outside. Both members entered the apartment with all the required medical equipment, as well as equipment to prevent contamination to citizens of New York. Additional members prepared the ambulance for transport. Within 15 minutes, paramedics Julian and EMT Michael had the patient packaged and in the ambulance. On arrival, patient care was transferred to emergency room staff, and a long decontamination process began. For their calm under tremendous pressure and a commitment to safety of others, paramedic Winsley Julian and EMT Curvins Michael are presented with the Tracy Allen Lee Medal. Let's hear it. Winsley Julian, Curvin Michael, EMS's Hashtag Battalion. Our next medal is the Hispanic Society 23rd Street Fire Memorial Medal, being awarded to firefighter James Brady, Rescue Company Number 2. Where shortly after midnight on November 19, 2014, a Rescue Company 2 responded to a confirmed multiple dwelling fire on Flatbush Avenue in the Flatbush section of Brooklyn. A second alarm had been transmitted and multiple victims were reported in the building. Firefighter Brady, the roofman, assisted in roof operations and then observed a setback where he could assess the top floor windows. Without a fire escape to assess the setback, firefighter Brady climbed over the roof's edge and dropped 10 feet. Regaining his footing, he entered the top floor window to begin a search. With a high heat condition, he began his search and found an unconscious woman. As he began removing her from the toxic environment, he came across a second victim. Firefighter Brady pulled the woman to the stairs where members of 147 took her to the street. He then returned for the second victim and with firefighter Braun, rescued and removed her to the street and medical help. Although one life was lost at this fire, 6 was saved. And in recognition of his bold initiative and unwavering courage, we proudly award firefighter James Brady the Hispanic Society 23rd Street Fire Memorial Medal. James Brady, Rescue Company Number 2. Our next medal, the Vincent J. Kane Medal, being awarded to firefighter Michael Maida, Hook and Ladder 26, the Fire Factory. Where on the morning of March 12, 2014, a gas explosion rocked the East Harlem section of Manhattan. As the members of the Fire Factory prepared to respond, they were directed to Park Avenue on 116th Street. Upon arrival, 26 was confronted with 2 5-story Old tenements that had collapsed and were now burning. The truck officer, Lieutenant Ed Poley, split his company into 2 teams. Firefighter Maida made his way to the rear and observed a male trapped in a second-floor window in an uncollapsed section. Traversing the debris pile, he made his way to a fire escape to reach the victim. Despite a heavy fire and smoke condition and additional collapses, firefighter Maida removed the injured male to safety. After turning the victim over to EMS, he questioned him about other possible victims. Firefighter Maida operated in the finest traditions of the FDNY in saving a life, and we proudly award him the Vincent Kane Medal. Firefighter Mike Maida, Hook and Ladder 26, Engine Company 58, the Fire Factory. Our next medal, the Pulaski Association Medal, is being awarded to firefighter Adam Bishop, Tower Ladder 170, Canarसी's bravest. Where on the morning of April 12, 2014, firefighter Bishop detailed to 110 truck in downtown Brooklyn. They were directed to respond second due to reported fire on Lafayette Avenue. A 1075 was transmitted, and as 110 made their way down Vanderbilt Avenue, they observed a male hanging out the 5th floor window of the rear of the fire building, which was 3 buildings in from the street. Ladder 110's chauffeur raised the ladder in a cantilevered, unsupported position. Firefighter Bishop climbed to the tip of the unsupported aerial and braced himself against the fire building. He reached up and swung the victim over to the aerial. Both Firefighter Bishop and the victim tumbled onto the aerial. At this time, Firefighter Bishop tried to assure the victim that he was okay and coached him down the aerial into safety. This rescue took place 5 stories above the ground and could have had a far worse outcome. For his act of unwavering bravery and courage, we present the Pulaski Association Medal to Firefighter Adam Bishop, Tower Ladder 170, Engine 257, Battalion 58, Canarसी's bravest. Our next medal, the Commissioner Edward Thompson Medal, being awarded to Firefighter Robert Ruff, Hook and Ladder 32, the Gun Hill Gang. We're on the evening of May 13, 2014. Hook and Ladder 32 responded to a reported building fire on Holland Avenue in the Williamsburg section of the Bronx. As they responded, there were numerous reports of fire with children trapped. Upon arrival, Firefighter Ruff surveyed the front of the building and thought he saw a person at a window above the fire. Climbing Ladder 32's aerial, Firefighter Ruff removed the child guards and entered the floor above. Upon entering the window, he found a boy lying on the floor and passed him to Firefighter John Robel, the LCC, who also climbed the aerial. Firefighter Ruff continued to search as fire extended to this apartment from below. Searching, he found an unconscious young girl. He transmitted to 1045 and retraced his path back to the aerial ladder. Shielding his victim, he again handed her to Firefighter Robel, who was at the tip. He again continued to search the apartment above, finding no additional victims. And for this act of bravery in saving 2 young lives, we award Firefighter Robert Ruff, the Commissioner Edward Thompson Medal. Robert Ruff, Hook and Ladder 32, Engine 62, the Gun Hill Gang. Our next medal, the Columbian Association Medal, being awarded to Firefighter William Johnson, Hook and Ladder 147, the Pride of Flatbush. We're just after midnight. Hook and Ladder 147 responded second due to reported building fire on Flatbush Avenue across from the quarters at 255. A 1075 was already transmitted and multiple reports of people trapped were being received. On arrival, 147 found heavy fire venting out of several second-floor windows, auto exposing to the 3rd floor. Ladder 147's entire team with Firefighter Johnson on the irons immediately ascended to the top floor above the fire. He immediately crawled down the hall in 0 visibility and found his first victim. He removed this victim back to the interior stairs to the inside team for removal. Resuming his search, Firefighter Johnson crawled towards the front bedrooms where he found an unconscious female. He immediately transmitted to 1045 and removed this victim below the fire. He then assisted Lieutenant Robert Cooper in removing an additional victim. 1 life was lost, but 6 were saved at this operation. And for his act of courage and personal bravery, we proudly award the Columbian Association Medal to Firefighter William Johnson, Hook and Ladder 147, Engine Company 281, the Pride of Flatbush. Our next medal, the Susan Wagner Medal, being awarded to Firefighter Anthony Reynolds, Hook and Ladder 47, the Castle Hill Knights. Where the morning of February 13, 2014 saw a blizzard hit the New York City area. Heavy snow and high winds caused severe problems. At this time, Ladder 47 was directed to respond to reported building fire on Dean Avenue in the Throgs Neck section of the Bronx. On arrival, heavy fire was venting out of the 3-story attached private dwelling. Numerous civilians were trapped above as Firefighter Reynolds raised a 35-foot portable ladder to the 3rd floor balcony. Three frightened civilians told Firefighter Reynolds someone was trapped inside. He then entered the apartment, finding a trapped female. He brought this victim to the aerial and assisted in the removal of all 4 victims to the street via 47's aerial. Firefighter Reynolds entered the floor above a heavy fire to save a life. He then assisted in the safe removal of 3 additional victims at this 4-alarm fire. For his act of bravery, we present the Susan Wagner Medal to firefighter Anthony Reynolds, hook and ladder 47, engine 64, the Castle Hill Knights. Our next medal, the Steuben Association Medal, being awarded to firefighter John Varman Jr., engine 89, the Cuckoo's Nest. We're just after the start of the day tour on February 13, 2014. Tower Ladder 50 responded first due to reported building fire on Dean Avenue in the Throgs Neck section of the Bronx. Arriving in blizzard conditions, they found heavy fire in a 3-story private dwelling with people trapped. Firefighter Varman, working in Ladder 50, assisted in placing a 35-foot portable ladder to the 3rd-floor balcony. After assisting several civilians onto 47's aerial and with fire exposing his position, he entered the apartment above to search for additional victims. He located a semi-conscious woman and brought her to Ladder 47's aerial. After placing her in a Stokes basket, she was removed to the street. Despite frozen hydrants, blizzard conditions, and numerous trapped civilians, there were no fatalities at this 4-alarm blaze. For his courageous act of bravery, we award the Steuben Association Medal to firefighter John Varman, Engine Company 89, Tower Ladder 50, the Cuckoo's Nest. The Cuckoo's Nest. Our next medal is the Chief James Scullion Medal, being awarded to EMS Lieutenant Thomas Schultz of the Hazmat Battalion and paramedic Silvana Uzgatagi of Hashtag number 2. And on December 31st, New Year's Eve, 2014, at 10 minutes till midnight, a fire was reported on the 8th floor of Left Rack City in the Elmhurst section of Queens. With a confirmed working fire with people trapped reported, numerous medical branch resources were responding, including Lieutenant Thomas Schultz and paramedic Silvana Huzgatagi. On arrival, both members proceeded to the 7th floor to assist in the removal of a victim in cardiac arrest. After removing the victim to an elevator, the elevator malfunctioned, trapping our members. Lieutenant Schultz and paramedic Uzgataki continued CPR and medical care for over 30 minutes as they awaited themselves for assistance. This large-scale incident had several red tag critically injured patients. Lieutenant Schultz and paramedic Uzgataki operated courageously and diligently at this 2nd alarm fire. For their tremendous efforts, we proudly bestow the Chief James Scullion Medal upon them. Let's hear it. Lieutenant Tom Schultz, Hazmat Battalion. Paramedic Silvana Huzgatagi, Hashtag number 2. The Scullion Medal. Our next medal, the Dr. J.W. Goldenkranz Medal, being awarded to Captain Daniel Florenko, hook and ladder 103, the pride of Sheffield Avenue. Where in the early morning hours of June 2nd, 2014, 103 was assigned first due to report a building fire on Georgia Avenue in the East New York section of Brooklyn. Numerous calls were flooding the Brooklyn CO, including reports of people trapped. On arrival, 103's inside team made entry and began forcing open the fire apartment door. Captain Florenko, after strategically assigning his inside team, made his way into a bedroom and found an unconscious adult female. He brought her out to the hallway where she was removed to the street. At this time, Ladder 103's OV notified Captain Florenko another victim was trapped behind window bars in the rear bedroom. As he made his way to the bedroom, a ceiling collapsed behind him, cutting off the advancing engine company. Captain Florenko found a second victim and sheltered her with his body until 290 knocked down the fire. He then removed her to safety. Captain Florenko operated under extreme and challenging fire conditions without a protective hose line and saved 2 lives. And for that, we proudly award him the Dr. J.W. Goldenkranz Medal. Captain Dan Florenko, Hook and Ladder 103, Engine 290, the pride of Sheffield Avenue. Our next medal, the Uniform Fire Officers Association Medal, being awarded to Captain Peter Irish, Tower Ladder 35, the Cavemen. Where at the start of the night tour of December 2nd, 2013, 35 truck was directed to respond second due to reported multiple dwelling fire on Manhattan's Upper West Side. On arrival, heavy smoke was pushing from the 4th and 5th floors. After conferring with the first due truck, Captain Irish and his inside team made their way to the apartment above the fire. Beginning their search in zero visibility and a large amount of debris, Captain Irish noted what appeared to be a victim with his thermal imaging camera. He did, in fact, find an unconscious male and began dragging him to the apartment door. Fire was extending to this apartment via a closet, and conditions were rapidly deteriorating. At this time, Tower Ladder 35's bucket was placed at a front window where the victim was safely removed. Captain Irish displayed personal bravery and initiative in saving a life, and for that, we proudly bestow the Uniform Fire Officers Association member upon him. Captain Pete Irish, Tower Ladder 35, Engine Company 40, the Cavemen. "35 truck, 40 engine." Let's hear it. The Cavemen. Our next medal is the Edith B. Goldman Medal, being awarded to Lieutenant Stephen Cahill, Hook and Ladder 24, Midtown Madness. Where in the early morning hours of November 30th, 2014, Hook and Ladder 24 responded to a reported building fire on the 7th floor of a 15-story multiple dwelling on Lexington Avenue. Arriving on the 7th floor, they quickly found the fire apartment and began forcible entry. Lieutenant Cahill initiated a search at the front door and continued deeper into the apartment. Reaching the living room, he observed the couch on fire extending up the walls with an unconscious male next to the couch. Lieutenant Cahill removed the victim out of the apartment with the assistance of firefighters Abodondello and Wazaliski. Once the victim was removed, Lieutenant Cahill continued the search and directed the engine to the seat of the fire. For his act of bravery, we award the Edith B. Goldman Medal to Lieutenant Stephen Cahill, Hook and Ladder 24, Engine Company Number 1, Midtown Madness. Our next medal is the American Legion Fire Department Post 930, Mark M. Wolfield Medal, being awarded to firefighter Michael Oba, Tower Ladder 124, the Tonka truck. Where on the morning of March 3rd, 2014, Tower Ladder 124 responded first due to reported fire on Himrod Street in the Ridgewood section of Queens. On arrival, heavy fire was venting out several windows on the first floor, exposure 2 side. An occupant stated that his mother was trapped in the apartment. Firefighter Oba, the OV, made his way to the rear, and after being given permission to vent for life by his officer, he vented and entered the window. Under high heat and heavy smoke condition, firefighter Oba searched one bedroom, then another, finding the elderly woman. Fire now cut off his path of escape. Firefighter Oba closed the bedroom door, then vented its window, and with the assistance of members on the outside, passed the woman outside to safety. For his display of bravery at this operation, we award firefighter Mike Oba, the American Legion Fire Department Post 930 Mark M. Wolfield Medal. Mike Oba, tower ladder 124, the Tonka truck, engine 271, battalion 28. Michael Oba. Engine 15 on their way. Our next medal, the Arthur J. Laufer Memorial Medal, being awarded to firefighter Brian Kelly, Squad Company 1, the one and only. Where in the early morning hours of March 16, 2014, Squad 1, while returning from an assignment, was directed to respond to a phone alarm for a fire in a 21-story residential fireproof MD on 3rd Avenue in the downtown section of Brooklyn. They were receiving several reports of people trapped on the 5th floor. On arrival, firefighter Kelly and the inside team of the squad, after assessing the D line of apartments from below, made their way to the fire apartment. Under horrendous conditions, firefighter Kelly made his way to a rear bedroom. He found a crib in this room and searched it and found no one inside. Continuing to search the room, he found an unconscious female child. Firefighter Kelly quickly removed the child from the apartment, where he placed his facepiece on her and began CPR. He removed her to the street and awaiting medical personnel. And for his act of bravery in saving a child, the FDNY proudly bestows the Arthur J. Laufer Memorial Medal to firefighter Brian Kelly, Squad Company Number 1. Squad 1, the one and only. Our next medal is the Emerald Society Pipes and Drums Medal, being awarded to firefighter Kevin Moore, tower ladder 138, the Corona Tigers. Where on the morning of October 12, 2014, firefighter Kevin Moore of 138 was driving to work on the Clearview Expressway in Queens when he came across an overturned car in flames. After pulling over to investigate, it became clear to firefighter Moore that the driver was trapped in the vehicle and the fire was spreading towards the passenger compartment. Firefighter Moore alerted 911 and attempted to remove the victim. At this time, 2 additional off-duty members arrived, and together they pushed the burning vehicle off the guardrail. From this side of the car, firefighter Moore was now able to enter and extricate the driver and pass him off to our fellow members. It is for firefighter Moore's quick and decisive action that a life was saved. And for this act of bravery, we award him the Emerald Society Pipes and Drums Medal. Firefighter Kevin Moore, tower ladder 138, engine 289, the Corona Tigers. Our next medal, the Company Officers Association Medal, being awarded to firefighter Christopher DiGiulio, tower ladder 18, Fort Pitt. Where on the afternoon of August 13, 2014, 18 truck responded first due to reported fire on Madison Street in Manhattan's Lower East Side. On arrival, fire was observed on the 5th floor of the 6-story Class 1 MD. Unable to use the bucket of portable ladders, firefighter DiGiulio, the chauffeur, was ordered to assist the inside team in the fire apartment. He arrived at the apartment door as it was forced and was instructed to search the left side of the apartment. Making his way towards the rear, he came across an unconscious and burnt female. After transmitting at 10:45, firefighter DiGiulio quickly removed the victim from the apartment. Then, assisted by a fellow member, the victim was removed to the floor below and medical care. In recognition of his bravery and quick thinking, the FDNY is proud to award firefighter Christopher DiGiulio the Company Officers Association Medal. Tower ladder 18, engine 15, battalion 4, Fort Pitt. Our next medal, the Lieutenant Kirby McElhern Medal, being awarded to EMT Samuel Guardiola from Medical Emergency Dispatch, Bureau of Communications. We're on the morning of December 12, 2014. EMT Samuel Guardiola from EMD Emergency Dispatch received a 911 call from a woman who was 41 weeks pregnant. Realizing the baby was about to be delivered, he upgraded the call from a female in labor to baby out or imminent birth. EMT Guardiola calmly provided the woman with instructions for obstetrics delivery. Upon delivery, the woman stated the umbilical cord was wrapped around her baby's neck. In a cool manner, EMT Guardulio guided the mother in removing the cord from around the baby's neck. He then encouraged the mother to tap on the baby's foot to make the infant cry and breathe on its own. This patient did not panic due to EMT Guardiola's expertise and calmness. Over the phone, he was successful in bringing another life into this world. For his determination and professionalism, we proudly award EMT Samuel Guardiola the Kirby McAlern Medal. Sam Guardiola. Our next medal, the Chief Joseph B. Martin Medal, being awarded to firefighter Kevin Lynch, Tower Ladder 14, Heaven in Harlem. We're on the evening of July 4th. Ladder 14 was relocated to the quarters of Ladder 25 on Manhattan's Upper West Side. At 2300 hours, 11 o'clock, they were directed to report a building fire on West 76th Street. On arrival, smoke was observed from a fourth-floor window. Firefighter Lynch, part of the inside team, made his way to the fire floor where they encountered heavy smoke and high heat from an open apartment door. Firefighter Lynch crawled through the apartment, past the burning kitchen, and made his way to a back bedroom where he found an unconscious male. With all his strength, Firefighter Lynch dragged the victim down the hall and out of the fire apartment. Once in the public hall, he was assisted in bringing the victim below the fire floor and to awaiting medical help. For his act of bravery in saving a life on the 4th of July, we proudly award Firefighter Kevin Lynch the Chief Joseph B. Martin Medal, Tower Ladder 14, Engine 35, Battalion 12, Heaven in Harlem. Kevin Lynch, 14 truck. Our next medal, the Police Honor Legion Medal, being awarded to Lieutenant James Cashin, Tower Ladder 121, Best on the Beach. We're in the early morning hours of July 4th, 2014. 121 responded to a reported fire in a high-rise residential apartment building on Beach 56 Place in the Rockaway section of Queens, with reports of people trapped. On arrival, heavy smoke was emanating from a second-floor apartment, and a 1077 was transmitted. Lieutenant Cashin began the primary search, leaving one member at the apartment door for control purposes. Passing an expanding kitchen fire, Lieutenant Cashin instructed his can firefighter to hold the fire at bay with his extinguisher. Lieutenant Cashin then continued the search, finding an unconscious female. Lieutenant Cashin dragged the victim back out of the apartment, where members of his unit brought her to the street and medical care. Lieutenant Cashin then continued to supervise interior operations. For his act of determination and bravery at this operation, we proudly award Lieutenant James Cashin the Police Honor Legion Medal. Tower Ladder 121, Engine 265, Battalion 47, EMS Station 47, the Best on the Beach. Our next medal, the firefighter David J. DeFranco Medal, is being awarded to firefighter Brian Brown, Rescue Company Number 3, Big Blue. We're on the evening of April 4th, 2014. Rescue Company 3 responded into the borough of Queens as the backup dive team for Rescue 4. A car with 4 young adults had driven over an embankment and was submerged underwater. Listening to radio transmissions as they responded, they suited up and planned for this dive operation. On arrival, the 4 victims were still trapped in a vehicle that was located 25 feet from the shoreline and in 15 feet of water. Firefighter Brown navigated his way down the embankment and submerged. Navigating through debris, he located the vehicle, and feeling around for the door, he located his first victim. He resurfaced with the victim and was pulled to shore. After handing the victim off, he again submerged, returned to the car, and found the second victim. After returning to shore again, firefighter Brown returned to the vehicle again, and this time had to enter the vehicle to find the last victim in the back seat. An additional victim was located by Rescue Company 4. Firefighter Brown made 3 dives into a submerged vehicle in very harsh environment and made 3 rescues. For his act of bravery, we today award him the David J. DeFranco Medal. Firefighter Brian Brown, Rescue Company number 3, Big Blue. Our next medal, the Lieutenant James E. Zahn, Lieutenant Peter L. Troiano Memorial Medal, being awarded to Lieutenant Robert Cooper, Hook and Ladder 147, the Pride of Flatbush. Where on the evening of November 19, 2014, Hook and Ladder 147, under the command of Lieutenant Robert Cooper, responded second due to a confirmed building fire with people trapped in a Flatbush section of Brooklyn. On arrival, heavy fire was observed on the 2nd floor extending to the 3rd. Lieutenant Cooper made his way above the fire and split his inside team up. Immediately, his Irons firefighter transmitted at 1045. After assisting this member, Lieutenant Cooper moved toward the rear of the apartment where he located an additional unconscious victim. Lieutenant Cooper dragged the victim back to the staircase where he was removed to the street. Lieutenant Cooper then continued to supervise the search operations on the floor above. Numerous lives were saved at this operation by our members, and for his display of leadership and bravery, we proudly award the Lieutenant James E. Zahn, Lieutenant Peter L. Troiano Memorial Medal to Lieutenant Robert Cooper, Hook and Ladder 147, Engine Company 281. That's the Pride of Flatbush. Our next medal is the Deputy Commissioner Christine R. Godek Medal, being awarded to Fire Marshal Robert Cox, Citywide South Command, detailed to the Special Investigations Unit. Where on August 14, 2014, a fire was set that required an all-hands response and drew the attention of an alert team of fire marshals. They immediately began investigation into Manhattan's 14th Street fire. It was quickly determined that the fire was arson and was set to uncover a burglary in excess of $100,000. Fire Marshal Cox, the lead investigator, conducted a forensic exam of the fire scene and then performed a canvass of the surrounding area. Digital images from nearby security cameras identified a person of interest. Continuing to work this case for several months, a link to a storage locker was made. A ruse was set up to get the suspect to retrieve his ill-gotten gains. The sting was successful. A suspect was arrested and a full confession was made. The result of Fire Marshal Cox's exhaustive investigation sent a powerful message for those with a depraved indifference to our members and the public. It is with great honor we bestow the Deputy Commissioner Christine R. Godek Medal on Fire Marshal Robert Cox, Citywide South Command. Bob Cox. Our next medal is the William Friedman Medal, being awarded to firefighter David Ritchie, Hook and Ladder Company 27, the Cross Bronx Express. Where on the morning of October 10, 2014, 27 truck responded as the first due truck to reported fire on Anthony Avenue in the Mount Hope section of the Bronx. On arrival, Lieutenant Shanley transmitted a second alarm for a fully involved 3-story frame multiple dwelling with fire extending to both exposures. Splitting his unit into 2 teams, firefighter Ritchie operated in exposure 2 with heavy fire consuming the 2nd floor. Firefighter Ritchie passed the fire and forced the apartment door on the 3rd floor. Through heavy heat and blinding smoke, firefighter Ritchie found an unconscious victim. He transmitted at 1045 and then sheltered the victim until a hose line was in place on the floor below. Firefighter Ritchie then removed the victim to the street and medical care. Due to this heroic act at personal risk, we're proud to award firefighter David Ritchie the William Friedberg Medal. Dave Ritchie, Hook and Ladder Company 27, Engine Company 46, the Cross Bronx Express. Let's hear it. Our next medal, the probationary firefighter Thomas A. Wiley Medal. This year being awarded to probationary firefighter Marlon Sahai, Tower Ladder 9, Bowery U. Where on the morning of August 17, 2014, 9 truck responded first due to report of fire on St. Mark's Place in Manhattan's East Village. Numerous calls were being received with reports of people trapped. On arrival, heavy smoke was pushing from behind window bars on the first floor of this MD. Firefighter Sahai and the inside team made their way into the apartment, and under heavy smoke and heat began their search. When they reached the fire area, firefighter Sahai attempted to hold the fire in check. His officer found the victim and transmitted at 10:45. Firefighter Sahai crawled towards the rear of the apartment and found a second victim. He also transmitted at 10:45, and protecting the victim from the extending fire, brought the woman out of the building to awaiting medical personnel. Probationary firefighter Marlon Sahai performed with professionalism and discipline of a veteran firefighter. His act of bravery saved a life, and we proudly bestow the probationary firefighter Thomas A. Wiley Medal upon him. Probationary firefighter Marlon Sahai. With them is Chelsea Barnett. Chelsea Barnett was the victim that firefighter Sahai rescued. Chelsea Barnett. Let's hear it for all of them. Marlon Sahai, Tower Ladder 9, Engine 33, the Bowery U. Nine truck, 33 engine. Let's hear it. Our next medal, the Shelley Rothman Memorial Medal, this year being awarded to firefighter Andrew Magenheim, Tower Ladder 44, Morris Avenue. Where on the morning of February 1st, 2014, Tower Ladder 44 responded first due to reported building fire on Park Avenue in the borough of the Bronx. Upon arrival, smoke was pushing from the 16th floor of this 23-story Class 1 fireproof MD. The inside team took the elevator to the 14th floor, then the stairs to the 16th. Firefighter Magenheim, after forcing entry, made a search through Collier's Mansion conditions with an extending fire and no handline in operation. He searched 2 bedrooms, and then he found an unconscious male in the bathroom. As probationary firefighter Andrew Gabor of Engine 72 held the fire at bay, firefighter Magenheim dragged the victim over extensive rubbish and out of the fire apartment to the floor below, where medical personnel were waiting. For his extraordinary act of bravery in saving a life, we proudly award the Shelley Rothman Memorial Medal to firefighter Andrew Magenheim. Tower Ladder 44, Engine Company 92, Morris Avenue. Our next medal is the Jack Pinchik Medal, this year being awarded to EMS Captain Paul Miano, the Hashtag Battalion, paramedic Richard Guzman, Station 45, and paramedic Christopher Taylor, Station 45, Woodside. Where on the afternoon of August 20th, 2014, EMS Captain Paul Miano and rescue paramedics Richard Guzman and Christopher Taylor responded to a construction accident at Manhattan's 2nd Avenue Access Tunnel project at 2nd Avenue and East 83rd Street. On arrival, they were confronted with a seriously injured construction worker 100 feet below the ground and 300 feet inside the tunnel. Captain Miano presented a medical plan to the incident commander and then entered the tunnel with his rescue medics. Once at the tunnel bottom, they had to navigate through wet concrete. Paramedics Guzman and Taylor made patient contact and began a rapid trauma assessment. After assessment, they stabilized the victim's cervical spine and started an intravenous line to administer medications. The medics then used special equipment to stabilize the worker's badly injured legs. Captain Miano maintained verbal contact with his rescue medics throughout the operation, as well as with EMS medical control doctor. As firefighters began victim removal to the street, paramedics Guzman and Taylor monitored the victim's vital signs. Captain Miano and medics Guzman and Taylor put the safety of their patient before their own, providing life-saving treatment throughout this extremely complicated operation. For that, we award the Jack Pinchuk Medal to EMS Captain Paul Miano, rescue paramedics Richard Guzman and Christopher Taylor, EMS Station 45, Woodside. Paul Miano, Rich Guzman, Chris Taylor. Station 45, Woodside. Okay, down to our last 4 unit medals. The next medal also is awarded every 3 years to the highest James Curran Firefighter Burn Center Foundation medal. This year, the Lieutenant James Curran New York Firefighters Burn Center Foundation medal, Father Julian F. Deacon Memorial Medal, is being awarded to Engine Company 201, Can Do. And this medal is being awarded to Lieutenant, now Captain, Michael McCaffrey, firefighter, now Lieutenant Josh Man Calicanis, firefighter Sean O'Malley, firefighter Jerry Benici, firefighter Jorge George Canoggio. Where in the early morning hours of March 13, 2011, an arsonist torched the stairs of 510 61st Street, a 4-story Old Lord tenement in Brooklyn's Sunset Park section. As fire rapidly spread up these old wooden stairs, 31 residents would soon find themselves fighting for their lives. As Engine 201 pulled up in front, the fire was pushing out of the front door and all windows on the stairway. Engine 201 began an aggressive attack that enabled them to reach the interior stairs. Knocking down fire as they proceeded up into the inferno, the nozzleman's foot went through the stairs. As he extricated himself, the firefight continued to the 2nd and 3rd floors. Engine 201 then extinguished heavy fire in a 3rd-floor apartment and started to proceed to the 4th floor. As they ascended again, the nozzleman went through the floor again, this time up to his chest. As firefighter O'Malley was being extricated a second time, the nozzle was passed up to Captain McCaffrey, who knocked down fire in the 4th-floor hallway and bulkhead. Firefighter O'Malley, once extricated, joined his officer, and as 201 regrouped, they started to extinguish fire at apartment 4L, allowing Lieutenant Keene and Captain Morris to reach and remove an unconscious male. If not for the determination, bravery, and aggressive attack on this fire, lives would have been lost. Their teamwork and cooperation with other fire units in dangerous conditions enabled 31 people, 8 in critical condition, to be rescued. The fire department is proud to present the Lieutenant James Curran New York Firefighters Burn Center Foundation Medal, Father Julian F. Deacon Memorial Medal to Engine 201, Can Do, Captain Mike McCaffrey, Lieutenant Josh Calicanis, firefighter Sean O'Malley, firefighter Jerry Benici, firefighter Jorge George Caneo, 201 Can Do, 114 Tally Ho, the 4-0 Battalion. Let's hear it. Had the pleasure of working there more than a few times. I was instructed not to tell any jokes today. One more time, engine 201, can do. Captain Mike McCaffrey, Lieutenant Josh Calacanis, firefighters Sean O'Malley, Jerry Benici, George Cornejo, James Current New York Firefighters Foundation Medal, Father Julian Deacon Memorial Medal. Let's hear it. This year's Lieutenant James Curran New York Firefighters Burn Center Foundation Medal, this year being awarded to Engine Company 58, the Fire Factory. Being awarded to Captain, now Battalion Chief, Christopher Reginella. Firefighter Christopher Brennan, Ladder 26. Firefighter Robert Canali. Firefighter Thomas Long Jr. Firefighter Christopher Spagnola, Engine 58. Where on the morning of March 12, 2014, an explosion shook the quarters of Engine 58 and Ladder 26. As the companies turned out, they were directed to Park Avenue and East 116th Street for a reported explosion and building collapse. Upon arrival, they found two multiple dwellings had collapsed with a heavy fire condition. Finding a fire hydrant outside of the collapse zone, Engine 58 stretched a hand line to the exposure 2 side to protect Ladder 26 while they conducted a primary search. Once completed, Engine 58 moved their line to the front of the collapsed building to push fire back as searches were made. As Engine 58 operated their line on the pile, they also searched for surface victims. While monitoring exposure 2 for signs of collapse, they continued to operate. The hand line was repositioned several times to provide protection as fire continually erupted in pockets on the pile. Their line again was repositioned to protect members working to remove a victim. Engine 58 members risked life and limb in a team operation to save any viable victims by aggressive handline operations and protection of exposures from the spread of fire. We honor them today with the Lieutenant James Curran New York Firefighter Burn Center Foundation Medal, Engine Company 58, the Fire Factory. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Engine Company 58, the Fire Factory. Battalion Chief Chris Reginella. Firefighters Christopher Brennan, Robert Canali, Thomas Long Jr., Christopher Spagnola. Engine 58, Ladder 26, the Fire Factory. The recipients of the James Curran New York Firefighters Burn Center Foundation Medal. Well done. Our next to last medal is the firefighter Thomas R. L. Sassa Memorial Medal, this year being awarded to Rescue Company Number 1, Captain Robert Rex Morris Jr., firefighters James Feely, Michael Geidel, Daniel Highland, Richard Miranda, and Christopher Morgan, Rescue Company Number 1. Where on the morning of March 12, 2014, Rescue Company 1 was directed to respond to a collapse and building fire at Park Avenue and East 116th Street. On arrival under the orders of Battalion 12, Rescue 1 split into 2 teams, one team to search exposure 4, the other team to assist units in extricating an injured victim. Once completed, the unit assembled in the rear of the fire building to regroup. A significant section of the collapsed building was still intact with a victim present. Again, Captain Morris split his team, one to get appropriate equipment and one to search the collapse area. Crawling across voids and crevices, they continued their search while working in the collapse area. Soon they located a severely injured woman who was wedged in the rubble. Captain Morris requested tower ladder streams to be repositioned while they treated and extricated the victim. Due to the heavy smoke condition, firefighter Miranda placed his own face piece on the victim. Once the victim was packaged, she was gingerly removed from the pile and passed out of the collapse area to awaiting medical personnel. Rescue Company 1 operated in a dangerous and unstable environment. All operations were conducted in the collapse zone of a highly unstable structure. It was under these conditions that Rescue 1 saved 2 lives at this horrific incident. It is for their act of bravery while operating as a unit that we award Rescue Company Number 1 the firefighter Thomas R. Elsasser Medal, Rescue Company Number 1. Captain Robert Rex Morris, commander, with his dad, the former commander of Rescue 1, Captain Bob Morris. Firefighters James Feely, Mike Geidel, Danny Highland, Richie Miranda, and Christopher Morgan. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, the Thomas R. L. Sassa Memorial Medal, Rescue Company Number 1, Captain Robert Rex Morris Jr., firefighters James Feely, Mike Geidel, Danny Hyland, Richie Miranda, Christopher Morgan. Rescue 1. Our final medal, the World Trade Center medal, this year being awarded to Tower Ladder 157, the Jolly Rogers. Lieutenant Angelo Sacco. Firefighters Timothy Brunton, Michael Guerrero, Brian McNicholas, Dominic Mischello, Michael Restitnik, 157. Just after midnight on a bitterly cold November 19, 2014, a civilian banged on the door of 255 and 157, reporting a fire across the street. Arriving in seconds, heavy fire was venting from all front-facing second-floor windows. Ladder 157 immediately went to work. Arriving at the second-floor landing, firefighter McNicholas opened his extinguisher, allowing fellow members to search the rear bedrooms and for engine 255 to get their handline into operation. Lieutenant Sacco immediately found a victim and brought it to the street. He continued to search and found a second victim. Firefighter Brunton, also searching in the rear, found the victim in the bathroom and brought him to the stairs where he was removed. Firefighter Brunton continued his search and also found a second victim. At this time, firefighter Restitnik, DOV, put a 24-foot portable ladder to the third floor and removed an additional victim. Firefighter Mischello, the chauffeur, moved the bucket to the second floor above the fire and entered, finding a victim and removing him to the bucket. After handing the victim off to EMS personnel, he re-entered the bucket and he too removed the second victim. Firefighter Guerrero performed critical roof ventilation, attempting to alleviate horrendous heat and smoke conditions on the second and third floor. Tower Ladder 157 operated as his team, saved multiple lives at this critical fire operation. For their act of bravery and great determination, we proudly award them the World Trade Center Medal. Tower Ladder 157, the Jolly Rogers. Lieutenant Angelo Sacco. Firefighters Timothy Brunton, Mike Guerrero, Brian McNicholas, Dominic Mischello, Mike Restitnik. Jimmy Brunton with his dad, Lieutenant Tommy Brunton. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, the World Trade Center Medal, Tower Ladder 157, Engine 255, the Jolly Rogers, Lieutenant Angelo Sacco, firefighters Timothy Brunton, Mike Guerrero, Brian McNicholas, Dominic Mastrello, and Mike Resnitnik, 157. How about a nice big hand for all our medal winners? Let's hear it. Will everyone please rise for the benediction by FDNY Chaplain Reverend V. Simpson Turner.
Let us pray. Eternal Thou, we are grateful for this auspicious occasion where we have gathered today in the shadow of City Hall to honor 70 persons whose moral fortitude enabled them to go beyond the call of duty. O merciful God, we are forever thankful for these modern-day heroes whose courage and bravery is what makes the FDNY the premier fire service agency in the nation. O gracious God, we are forever indebted to these men and women of the FDNY who each day are able to accomplish extraordinary feats where they have a cognitive dissonance which allows them to put themselves in harm's way for their fellow human beings with no concern for their own well-being. Oh God, we also celebrate 150 years where the FDNY has always answered the bell while looking into the evil eyes of danger with fear never being an option. Oh God, today on Medal Day, we remember the selfless sacrifices made each day by the members of the FDNY and the commitment to serve the citizens of the city which never sleeps. Oh God, we honor the FDNY, known as the bravest, and the EMS, known as the best, who are the first responders which rescue, care for, and preserve this metropolis. Gracious God, today we also are appreciative for the families who give the support to the personnel so that they can go about doing their very best. Now, God, once this ceremony ends, the FDNY will go to work. When the alarm rings, from Harlem to Greenwich Village, from Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn to Bay Ridge, from Flushing in Queens to Jamaica, from Stapleton and Staten Island to Tottenville, from Castle Hill in the Bronx to Riverdale, the FDNY will be there to respond every day, every hour, every second, because that is the essence of this great agency. Now, God, bless these recipients, their families, bless the FDNY and all who are present today, and may your omnipotent peace rest, rule, and abide with each of us. In your magnificent name, O God, amen.
Thank you, Reverend Turner. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Mayor de Blasio, Fire Commissioner Nigro, Chief of Department Leonard, other members of the executive staff, thank you for joining us at today's Medal Day ceremonies, and have a great day. One more hand for our medal winners. Thank you. If the medal winners could just hold in place for a group photo. Medal winners, please remain at your seats. Thank you.